Good morning, good morning, good morning. What is up, folks? JT here with another Chart Talk Live for you Thursday, February 5th. Brought to you by Xtrades. Hope everybody is doing well and having a good week despite some of the volatility and downward pressure on the markets right now. It's been a good time to short the rip so far. We'll see if that continues. We'll talk about kind of where things are situating themselves on ES here, and then we'll get to some trade plan recaps and, of course, working on some new trade plans and ticker analysis here together this morning. Let me get my screen sharing started. All right, that looks good. I don't need that. Let's see, we've got those. Make sure we got our right plans pulled up here. That's all right. Xbox. Okay, cool. Let's get this to where we currently are. There we go. That's what we're talking about. All right. So let me get over to the chat. What's up? What's up, Serge? Good morning to you. What's up, Outlaw Navy Plums, Serbian Fighter, New Trader? Good to see everybody here right out of the gate. Appreciate y'all showing up timely. Let me get a quick announcement out. All right. So, what are we seeing here in the markets? What should we be paying attention to? For me, right now, I'm looking pretty much big picture to try to get a sense of where things are at and where we might be going. Excuse me. Obviously, we are dipping down this morning, but we're coming into this channel of support that traces all the way back, ultimately originates back here around May of last year. So I've been watching this. We've seen bounces on both of these trend lines and ultimately the market getting bought up out of that channel. Now we are in that channel once again, so we could see some dip buying taking place if the market is going to continue to maintain its bullish momentum. We do have some supply and demand zones around nearby. We've got a weekly supply zone that we are clearly having issues getting over. That originated back in January of this year. We keep rejecting that supply zone and essentially all-time highs. We have flipped things back bullish here on NTS on the daily. We do have some demand zones just below, but if we lose 67.75, I would be very surprised if we don't see a deeper pullback and perhaps the beginning of a corrective move in the markets, in which we just, don't really need to change a whole lot, except for instead of buying the dips, we're shorting the rips and looking to play resistance setups to push down versus the other way around. What's up, Veritas? Good morning to you. Good to see you over on YouTube. Hope all is well with you. Like I said, we're kind of at an inflection point here. We're either going to bounce. If we do bounce, and I'd say that's kind of the way I'd be leaning right now. I mean, until this trend gives way, there's no reason for us to believe that the markets won't continue to get bought up. If it does, and then we lose those couple of demand zones we have just below, well, then I think we open up a much larger area of opportunity to the downside that potentially takes us down to 65.78 minimum. That would also be a retracement close, if not to, the 200 SMA here on the daily chart, which we haven't visited in quite some time. So markets have been a little bit overextended, but that's not really abnormal, especially on the daily chart with these being more lagging indicators. But again, all that being said, we've got some key areas to watch here. Make sure that you're marking these on your charts, putting your own notes, setting your own alerts so you can be on top of these things without anybody having to call it out for you. The more that you can provide for yourself, I think the better off you're going to be in the long run. Obviously, we're here at Xtrades to continue to feed you as much good information as possible, but we can't be looking everywhere at once. We can't be chatting everywhere at once. So always have your own plan, your own setups, your own alerts, copy things from other folks that you're seeing that involve analysis or trade planning. Put those levels on your charts and just be ready to execute. All right, let's get to some trade plan recaps. We did USAR this past Tuesday, or just a couple of days ago, really. We were looking, let me get this down to a smaller time frame here. We were looking for it to break over 2402 for a move to the upside. Gave us that break, pushed all the way up above PT1, and then kind of stalled out here shy of PT2. But that's okay. Targets were hit. You should have had profits taken and stops moved up. We did have a confluence there with NTS here on the hourly. Key sell pressure zone, so not too surprised that we found resistance there. I'm just a little bit surprised it didn't at least stretch and give us a wick or something like that a little bit closer to that second price target. But again, that's okay. That's, sometimes things don't move exactly the way we anticipate. But since then it's pulled back. Now it's back in the buy range, so this is definitely one that I would say is good to keep on watch, see what happens with it here moving forward, especially if we see the equities markets continue to correct. We could see metals, rare earths, etc. Start to pick up some steam again. And we have this plan in place. We're back in the range. Again, we've clearly proven that at the very least we can get PT1 perhaps on the next break above 2402. We can make it to PT2 and possibly even PT3. That remains to be seen. Time will tell. Just make sure that you're moving, taking profits and moving up your stops along the way. But I'd say this is definitely a good one to keep on watch for this plan to go back into effect if we do get a break above 2402 or below 2169. We've got LRCX, Lamb Research. This one definitely looking quite bearish right now. Lost its trend, and when it lost its trend, it dumped pretty hard. Let me switch this over here again so we can see this a little better. So we were looking for that break below 237.31. Did have a trend line below here that it tried to catch and hold, but that did not work out. Going into yesterday, it absolutely dumped, creating what looks like a pretty obvious bear flag to me. And could break down again if we lose the structure of that bear flag, which is a little wonky with this pre-market move there. I mean, to me, it looks like, in fact, it might have already broken down and is now back testing that breakdown. Yeah, that's what it looks like, actually. So this one could continue to push down this morning, so keep an eye on it. But already all three targets achieved for the downside below 237.31. We were looking for those price targets. We did get all the way to PT2 before we wrapped up the day there on Tuesday, and then, like I said yesterday, lost that trend pre-market, lost the 333 as a potential support confluence there at PT3 for puts, and has now created that bear flag that it looks like it's again broken below and back testing as resistance. So we might see LRCX continue to the downside. Let me throw some levels on here. I'd be surprised if it didn't go for 199.64 and potentially quite a bit lower. But that's what I'd be looking at for a key target to the downside for continuation. All right, so whoops, hit that. NVO, Novo Nordisk, this one was an interesting one. They essentially, something got leaked before their earnings report, basically that they were lowering their guidance, I believe is what it was. So this is a kind of an interesting case here. So we did this Tuesday pre-market, did give us the confirmed break. In fact, we were even seeing some back testing there within that 15-minute candle, losing below, sweeping back above. If that didn't convince you, this candle was definitely showing confirmation as soon as we started to get that continuation below that prior candle. So you had about 45 minutes to enter there and still be pretty close to the put entry. Then it halted and absolutely dumped. So congrats if you grabbed NVO. You were able to get essentially the benefits of an earnings report without the IV crush, and a massive drop to the downside that's taking it all the way down to 46 and some change, so another, $7 below what we were looking for PT3. But again, major unexpected catalyst dropped on this one, causing a trading halt and ultimately a dump. No, sorry, Starbucks. This one we did on last Thursday's live stream, so this is our last look at this one. It did play out to the downside, down to PT2, tapped right off of PT2, and then created an inverse head and shoulders pattern that ultimately allowed it to break back to the upside. Now it's bull flagging here back in our range, so this could be another one that would be good to watch for potentially could see a break back to the upside on this one over 98.08, and then play the upside of this trade plan after catching money on the downside. Alerts on this or I should say did expire last night. So make sure that you're marking these levels on your chart if you want to continue to follow this Starbucks trade plan. Again, trade plan navigator. My version's called pilot because I have some additional fields that I can use, but the trade plan navigator, where essentially you can punch all these values into the indicator and have your chart look just like mine and easily set alerts to be notified about any of your levels being tested or broken, is totally free for Xtrades members. So if you have any interest in that, please reach out, let me know, and we will get you squared away with access for that. Veritas over on YouTube wants to look at end phase. Okay, we'll add that to the list. Copex, we did this one last Thursday as well. Never gave us a break to the call side. Did break to the downside right out of the gates that same morning. Then we got that crazy gap down when silver and everything dropped like 20%. We saw something similar last night with a big pullback on silver. It's trying to catch the 333 SMA here on the hourly chart, trying to find some support there. Does have a gap, well, actually a couple of gaps overhead to fill yet. So would be interesting and not surprised to see some of these metals start to recover, especially if equities start to pull back. I could certainly see there being a case to be made for rotation into metals, even though the metals trade is already a little bit hot. It has seen some big pullbacks here recently with some proven price discovery overhead that says it could potentially go much higher. So just some things to keep in mind. No guarantees in the market. I don't think we had a third trade plan from last Thursday, but let's just double check. That would be this one. Yeah, that's from a couple of Thursdays ago. Okay, cool. All right, so let's get to some new ticker requests. Let's get to work. That's fine, whatever. Let's clean this up. So I don't lose track of what I'm looking at here. All right, so Serge wants to take a look at Fubo. We've got C-Murph in here wanting to take a look at Microsoft, USAR, SanDisk. I did have Apple last Thursday. Oh gosh, I'm terrible with dates. That was last Thursday, wasn't it? I don't know why that seemed like it was 2 Thursdays ago. Let's double check. Well, it might be good to take a look at the Apple chart anyway, real quick, and then we'll get to work on these new trade plans. Yeah, you're right. It was last Thursday. Gosh. Sorry, I look at 129. I'm like, oh, that was forever ago. It's like, well, no, it's only February 5th. So, Apple has played out for a bunch of these, or for pretty much all of our call side price targets. Gave us the break above. Again, this is a great example of waiting and being patient, right? Not chasing that big pump out of the gates. Let that PT1 tap and then wait for your back test. That back test coming into that bullish momentum right there. So I like that better than buying overextended outside of that momentum. I want to be in some support waves that are going to push me in the direction I want to go. So ultimately off of that, ran almost for all 3 price targets within the day, then finished the move the following day, this past Tuesday, and is now up over call PT3 and showing some signs of consolidation while the market's pulling back, which is, I'd say, a good sign for Apple. So we'll see how that plays out moving forward. All right, so let's get to some of these new ticker requests. Oh, I'm sorry. Now I almost missed PayPal from New Trader. Okay. Well, let's take a look at PayPal. Damn, PayPal down in the 40s. Crypto is dead. Crypto is definitely not having a good time. That's for sure. Alex Yeet, good morning. Thanks for joining. Crypto is definitely in bad shape. And I'd say Michael Saylor's in the worst shape. All right, let's see. I don't think yeah, PayPal's hitting below any levels I've ever really looked at for it. I have to do a little bit of a time travel here. This just looks insane right now. Cool. Damn. PayPal's below COVID levels. Not good, PayPal. Not good at all. All right, let's see. It does have a weekly level here that I had charted previously. Though that level does look like it should be a teeny tiny little bit higher. Right? Come on. There. That's good. All right, let's zoom out a bit on this real quick. All right, PayPal, what are we gonna do with you? Hmm. Show me what's up here, PayPal. It's pretty close to being a good level right there. It certainly seems like there's something going on in this range, but it's a little bit hard to tell. Look at that on another time frame here in just a minute. And we may need some levels down here in the 30s, which sounds wild, but it is what it is. this little area right here. That's an interesting bounce that we've seen act as support a few times. It is maybe just a little bit higher. Yeah, that works actually. All right, cool. Yeah. All right. Where are we at? 4072. I was gonna say I didn't think it ever tested up in this range, so let's move it on to some of these hourly time frames. This will be interesting to see if this shows up as a level as we work our way through here. All right, PayPal. Let's finish this plan. All right, where are we at currently? I had to, like I said, do some time traveling to figure out where those levels are going to be. Been sweeping down, have yet to break this 39.68 level. Curious to see if that winds up being a level of interest. Come on. Gotta go way back. There we go. Sitting at 40.75 here pre-market. That's for a sec. This is just old price data where NTS was way back then. Doesn't really matter. Not right now, at least. Okay. You see an interesting opportunity here. That 38.16, that would also be an interesting level to potentially start shares trade at. We get down to 38.16. Big bounces off that previously in his last bounce. It's never looked back, but might be taking a look back now. Keep an eye on it. Yeah, there's a level sit right about here that I'd want to watch for a third price target. bro. You didn't want to do that. Okay, so that's the downside plan. Where does upside become a thing? Gosh, dang it. I'm like just clicking shit randomly for no good reason. Kind of interested in yeah, there's a level right around here. Yeah, okay. All right, that gives us a good entry, stop loss, PT1, PT2, third target. Yeah. Now over 4361, so if you can establish some free runners on this, if the upside plays out, over 4361 could be a bigger move to the upside. So just some things to keep in mind there. All right, let's get this locked in. It's going to look wild because we've already got a few candles to look at besides the plan, but we had to go back to the 20 teens to find these price levels. So that is what it is. All right, I don't want to change the interval. I want to plug in some trade plan levels. Let's go. A shared stop loss on this one. Do want to see where Neptune's at now, though. Let's take a look at the hourly, see if that changes my mind on anything, or perhaps confirms some things. I mean, confirms what we already knew, which is PayPal's like totally bearish right now. So, not much else for it to add when things are that trending. I mean, obviously, we're getting into some sell pressure as we get up through those price targets. So, I think we've got those set appropriately. All right, let's clean this up. Before I forget, save this. Yep. Set our alerts. Ah, there you go. Ah, 1600. All right. So, what are we looking for here on PayPal? Just to recap it one last time. Uh, hope so too. We're looking for it to break over 41.88. That should bring price targets at 42.58, 43.17, and 43.61, with a stop loss average down at 41.32. To the downside, we're looking to play it for bearish moves below 40.20. That should bring targets at 39.11, 38.16, 37.53, with a stop loss average down at 40.97. That is your PayPal live stream plan. I know I was forgetting something. How about sharing it? creating our alerts. Duh. Chat. So I need to delete that I just created because it did not have the web or the Discord link in it. I knew I was forgetting something. I was like, I feel like I'm not doing something right here. Now we can create these alerts. All right, cool. Let's get to the next ticker request, which was, where is expiration date? I buy more time than you think you're going to need. We don't specify an expiration date. When we're doing trade plans, just make sure you have, I would say, at least 60 days, buy close to the money, if not in the money. Makes options trading a lot easier. All right, so we got Fubo and Enphase for our friends over on YouTube. So let's take a look at Fubo. Holy God. $1.61. They are getting smoked. Just taking a look at, yeah, I was going to say the last time I looked at Fubo, it was trading at least in the fives. Yeah. Oh, how the mighty have fallen, Fubo. Where are those levels even at? Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was a lot higher than this. Do they do a split or something? No? Was it that long? Has it been that long since I looked at Fubo, I guess? Yeah. Holy crap. This chart looks terrible. Well, this will be an interesting one to chart, that's for sure. You knew I wouldn't like it, but you asked anyway. That's okay. It's not all about what I like. Oh, this was probably such low volume trading too back then. Is it trading with any volume? Yeah, I checked that. Yeah, it is. Okay. Just very choppy looking price action. So, yeah, we'll probably just use daily and weekly levels for this with it being where it's at. Big picture for Fubo. I would also say with where it's at, probably just look at an upside only trade plan on this. I mean, at $1.62, not much downside left to capitalize on. All right, let's see where that put. Hang on. Let's say that seems like a very broad area for there to not be any support or resistance built up. Uh, yeah, there's a level right here. Okay, Fubo. Where will you go? Yeah, I think it needs to clear back over 167. I think this just looks like PT 1, 2, 3 for the upside. Definitely one I would just trade blocks of shares on. Oh, so they are planning a reverse split. Interesting. $2.15. There's an interesting support that it tested on the way down, but I don't recall seeing really anything else up in that range. Probably there's something right about here actually. 223. All right, doesn't matter. We're gonna use those targets that we have there. No need to be greedy on this one. And again, we're gonna just do this for the upside only. So we're looking for a break over 167 to take it to 183, 196, and 215. Stop loss at 151. Speed calls only. All right. Let's see how this plays out. Will be an interesting one for sure. All right. Here comes Fubo live stream plan. Then we'll get to end phase. I do want to give some love to our friends joining us on YouTube. So let's take one from their requests. Right, that's in there. Let's lock in our template. Alerts. All right, so what are we looking for here on Fubo? We're looking for it to break back above 167 to play for upside with targets at 183, 196, and 215 with a stop loss average down at 151. Those are your Fubo live stream plans. All right, let's do end phase next. End phase with a nice post earnings report pump. Been a while since I've looked at this name. Okay, end phase running right up into weekly sell pressure here on NTS. That's interesting. Quick. Uh-oh, I see Chris typing, yo, what's up, brother? Good to see you here. It's been forever. I need you back with your epic trade plan picks. Those of you who are newer to joining these, it's been a while since Chris has been with us. Glad to see him back here. And yeah, he tends to find some really interesting names for me to work up trade plans for, and those trade plans tend to hit pretty damn hard. Good to see you back, man. So many bangers. Banger after banger after banger. We're like, oh God, what's his name? DJ Khaled. Right. It's a really interesting flip of support to resistance. We'll mark it for now. Okay, let's see. Yep, I think we're going to see some good buy opportunities coming our way here in the near future. Whoa, why did I do that? I do agree. Buy and hold. Build that long-term portfolio when things are on sale. All right, let's see what that does for us. Looks like we have a bit of a trend working in our favor. Or working in Enphase's favor, I should say. All right, where does this really open up for upside? Yeah, I think we just rejected. Pretty interesting daily level here, over which I believe takes a shot. 57.89. 64.33. And yeah, right about there at 69.16. Stop loss on this plan. Let's go back here real quick. Let's see. Trying to nail this down. I think it's could just be at that weekly level, but I'm trying to see if there's anything a little bit tighter that we could use. Yeah, not really. So it's gonna have to give this trade some room to work itself out for sure. This level might be a little bit higher actually. Right about there. Target down to this weekly level. Below that, I say take a shot at 25.96 where we just bounced from. Again, finding resistance here that is right at the threshold of NTS before this flips bullish. So key sell pressure here, we'd have to clear that out. Could see a rejection if we don't, and pull back if we don't break above 52.97. Again, earnings just reported what this morning, right? No, yesterday. Oh no, Tuesday morning. Okay, so we're a couple of days out already. Okay. All right, let's get this locked in, and then I need to hustle and go get the SPY plan done. All right, so 52.97, 79, 16, stop loss average down at 48.27, put entry 43.34, takes us down at 38.29. 6 shared stop loss average down at 48.27. All right, cool. Let's go. Here comes your end phase live stream plan for you, Veritas. Thank joining on YouTube. Much appreciated. Of course, let's get this over in the Elite chat. Link. Get that plugged in here. Okay, let's see. That's good. Chart. Okay, so same as chart. All right, alerts are set. So what are we looking for here on end phase? We're looking for a break over 52.97. That should bring targets at 57.89, 64.33, and 69.16 with a stop loss average down at 48.27. Of course, Veritas, happy to help you, buddy. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 43.34. That should bring targets at 38.29, 33.61, and 25.96 with the shared stop loss average down with that upside trade plan there at 48.27. All right, I really appreciate y'all joining me this morning. I've got a limited amount of time left before market open to go get this SPY plan put together for you, so let me go get to work on that. We will be back next Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So until then, as we always say here on Chart Talk Live, plan your trades, trade your plans. Remember, we're looking for profits, not perfection. So keep your wins big, keep those losses small. Go out there and get some green. Listen to your team here at Xtrades in the chats. We've got a bunch of great people on board to help you through your trading day. So make sure that you are active, listening, and paying attention to everything we have to share with you. All right, SPY plan coming at you here ASAP. You guys have a fantastic day. I will see you next Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. and in the chats in the meantime. Until then, take care. Talk to you soon.